Is business slow, cash flow down, hosting an upcoming event? We can help. Advertise with 284 Media and take your business or event to the next level by enhancing your present marketing and messaging strategies. Allow our team of experts to create a personalized ad that sets your business apart from all the rest. This could be your business or event. So, what are you waiting for? Contact our marketing team at 284media at cctbvi.com. Advertising with us works.
Welcome everybody. It's Thursday, April 9th, 2020. I'm Ron Grant.
And of course, I am Kyla Kenesha Forbes. Ron, it is a beautiful day in the BVI once again.
As always, and lots going on in the Virgin Islands. But before we get into our newscast today, we want to take an opportunity to say a pleasant good afternoon to all of our viewers and residents of the Virgin Islands from East End to West End, not forgetting our folks over in the Crab Lot, Jos Van Dyke, Virgin Gorda, and Anegada. Thank you so much for your continued support. Kyla, a few weeks ago, once the government announced that schools would be closed, of course, the Youth Empowerment Center, along with CCT, partnered to make sure that students across the territory of the Virgin Islands were being equipped and they were being kept in touch with. So I had an opportunity to touch base with Mr. Stacy Mathar, MBE, the director of the Youth Empowerment Center, just to make sure that the kids are doing well, just to see how they were doing, just to update on their progress. And here's what he had to say.
Well, right now we're in our Easter program, right? And we're doing it virtually. So we have 3 WhatsApp chats ongoing. Our regular chat has 170 participants, mainly parents. The other one has the children in it that has about 50 something to 60 something. And then a new chat that we created Monday that has in, I think, 72 to 75 participants. So what has happened is it's good for the children that know us to be able to say, how are you doing? When they're posting the activities that we're giving them, they're getting feedback, they're getting encouragement, they're getting jokes. So connecting, it makes them feel as if, we're right there and we still care about them. Messages of gratitude from parents, messages of gratitude from children, staff teasing children, lightly, just make them laugh, just make them feel engaged. And the new chat that we have, it's interesting. You're seeing children doing crafts, they're doing riddles, they're doing online quizzes. Did a Zoom exercise meeting with some of them yesterday, just to keep them engaged. But the one benefit I have found is that parents are engaging with their children to do the activities we're doing. So we've been challenging them, the new ones, they're getting individual points, while the yuppies that are existing, they're competing for points for their houses. And if we know anything, competition does drive. Indeed. So I think that's actually helping with our engagement right now. And my staff is so committed. They're creating activities every week. They're pushing them out. And if they find that the children are gobbling them up, they're doing more.
Kyla, so proud and so happy to hear that our students of the Virgin Islands are managing well. Not only that, he was sure to mention to us that the parents are getting engaged and they're making sure that they're up on it. He sent us some photos of the students working on their projects at home, and I think it's so commendable that we were able to partner with YEP in this really, really awesome initiative. Now,
Ron,
yes, go ahead.
Ron, this is really a great initiative. I'm glad to see that our students are engaged, and I'm glad that our students have some level of normalcy and not just out and about. It's good to be outside sometimes, but we want to make sure that they are on track when it comes to education and doing some fun stuff. So I definitely love this initiative.
It is great. Now, topping our newscast today, ladies and gentlemen, while the territory of the Virgin Islands continues to be on a 24-hour lockdown, law and order and matters of the court continue to move forward. The criminal court has heard 2 matters over the 3 sittings, while the magistrate's court has dealt with 1 matter despite of the 14-day, 24-hour lockdown. The courts here in the Virgin Islands continue to utilize audio-video links to hear matters, conduct online searches, and probate decisions remotely. From March 27th until April 7th, the Supreme Court continued its function of hearing matters and delivering decisions in the Court of Appeal, Civil Court, 2 commercial courts, Criminal Court, and Master's Court. Now, Registrar of the Supreme Court, Mrs. Erica Smith-Penn, said the courts have benefited from the integration of technology since the legislation was passed, and that was done in 2017 after the hurricanes. She said the courts have been conducting hearings across the globe at any time in order to allow for justice and expediency while remaining responsive to its clients in the Eastern Caribbean, the Virgin Islands, and across the world. Tiffany Esprit Scatliff, director of the public prosecutions, said, and I quote, "Video conferencing technology has greatly benefited the courts as we were able to have matters heard during the time in accordance with social distancing protocols." She added, "The use of video conferencing technology has proven to be essential in keeping the territory's criminal justice system operational and allowing parties to seek justice." Court manager of the magistracy, Mrs. Annette Sylvester, further added that the integration of technology has served as a benefit to the magistrates' court in having the ability to hear cases remotely during this period. Mrs. Sylvester said, and I quote, "We are continuously seeking opportunities to enhance the way we do business, and we have incorporated the systems being used within the Supreme Court, and it is my intention as court manager to work along with the senior magistrate and others to advance the use of technology within the magistracy." Kyla, great news. Law and order, of course, matters of the court continue to be of high importance, and I think with every opportunity, as we see, with every negative opportunity, it gives us an opportunity here in the territory to advance, and I think it's commendable to see that all stakeholders, not only the government of the Virgin Islands, but the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force and all our various courts are doing the necessary measures, putting the necessary measures in place to make sure that matters of the court are still heard. It's very important.
Most definitely, Ron. A few weeks ago, we spoke about this, and we were concerned with the continuity when it came to our court, because we realized that we already had some level of backlog when it came to cases. So it's great to see this level of continuity within our courts. We see where after the 2017 hurricanes, certain things were put in place to make sure that this was possible. So a round of applause to them.
Indeed.
Most definitely. So Ron, now, since the territory-wide curfew have commenced, many complaints and concerns are continuing to surface regarding the enforcement of the curfew. Persons in the BVI are complaining of law enforcement coming into people's yards and chasing them to return inside. Ron, we know there are persons who have probably outright disobeyed the laws of the curfew, but persons are complaining that even within the confines of their own yards, law enforcement still find it necessary to enforce the curfew beyond the public roads. Ron, I see here where, as I said before, there are some persons that will always find a way around the law. Yes. But I think that clear limits and perimeters are necessary when it comes to such a situation, because myself, I have not just seen one complaint, but many complaints surface on social media about persons maybe, catching some fresh air outside, but are ordered to go inside by law enforcement. Now, viewers here at 284, we are actually concerned about these complaints, and our newsroom reached out to the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force for a statement. Police Commissioner Michael Matthews explained briefly and said the curfew is clear that only essential workers may travel. Everyone else must remain within the boundaries of their homes. Ron, here we see where the police commissioner, he quoted the boundaries of their homes. I find this statement a bit vague.
I agree.
What do we really mean by the boundaries of one's home? And I think this is where the confusion comes in. Also, Ron, via a tweet, Governor Jasper encouraged the BVI residents, and I quote, "Stay home within the limits of your yard and garden," means exactly that. Whatever imaginative way may be thought of to beat it, the police will enforce. It's all for our safety. Here we see the governor expecting persons to go as far as their backyards. So the question begs to be asked, is a curfew a stay inside order, or are persons allowed to practice social distancing within the confines of their private property once they are practicing social distancing and continuing to stay off the roads? Ron, online, and because this is something that is happening all over the world. So online we can find a lot of tips when it comes to social distancing, things that you can do, and it's actually encouraged to go, you know, outdoors in your backyards. Don't venture too far, but online articles will tell you it's okay to, you know, take walks and to keep active. It's actually really good to keep active during these times. But one thing I have observed, me myself, kids being allowed to play with neighbors. I don't think persons are really realizing that's probably not practicing the best social distancing. I know that this is something that we are accustomed to, especially in our Caribbean culture, our kids going outside and mingling and having fun with neighbors. But I think we all have to be considerate of what is really going on. And I think, Ron, we all need to get on the same page as we continue to fight against the COVID-19 virus by being responsible and continue to practice social distancing.
Kyle, I could not agree with you more. The age-old saying, as we grew up hearing, "You give a man an inch, he take a yard," right? That is so true, I think, more so than ever. But I do understand, and I can sympathize with residents all across the territory who may be having a difficult time coping. Persons, of course, in the statement that the commissioner said, they could take that as being very vague, and I do think that it is vague. But then when you look at the statements by the governor, that I think puts it a little bit more into perspective, allowing persons to understand once they're in the yard, whether it's their backyard or their front yard, they are at home and they are in their yard. So the problem comes when persons decide to venture up the hill or venture down the hill or venture by the neighbor. That's where the problem comes in, because they're still not on their property. And the statement that you mentioned, of course, with children interacting is a huge no-no. It's not accepted. It should not be done. Persons should stay on their property, of course, if you have a sibling inside, but mixing with other neighbors and other children is a no-no. So I definitely want persons to understand the severity of this. And again, I could sympathize with them because as a culture, we're so accustomed to being socially active and interacting with persons. So it's a huge adjustment for a lot of us.
I do agree with you, Ron. Now, viewers, still ahead, youth encouraged to showcase talents amidst a lockdown. All this and so much more when 284 News returns.
Some claim that the age of a true gentleman is far behind us, but here at 284 Media, we disagree. He may appear in different guises today, but the values and ideals that make him a gent still stand. 284 Media proudly presents its newest talk show, The Art of a Distinguished Gentleman, with yours truly, Ron Grant. A show poised to help guide modern-day men into 21st century distinguished gentlemen. Don't worry, it's not all about suits and bow ties, but raw, real-life lessons that translate to grounded, community-minded, well-rounded men. The Art of a Distinguished Gentleman, a 284 Media production.
Viewers, welcome back. You're watching 284 News. Director of the Youth Affairs and Sports Department, Mrs. Brenda Tyletsum, is encouraging young people in the territory of the Virgin Islands to find innovative ways to utilize their time during the 24-hour curfew. I had the opportunity to speak with Mrs. Tyletsum this morning, and she was enthusiastic about what we have been seeing here in the BVI as far as our youth showcasing their talent. Mrs. Letsum Tai said, and I quote, that this is the time for young people to strive and show their skills, as everything is now reliant on the internet and social media, which is their strong suit. Mrs. Letsum Tai said, and I quote, additionally, we here in the BVI are relying heavily on social media to do business, educating each other and communicating with one another, and no one knows how to use social media better than our youths. They are experts. She added, as we are on our curfew, I encourage you to take this time to find yourself, develop a skill, take advantage of many free lessons, tours, music, concerts that are available online. The director said persons around the world are now finding innovative ways to entertain and learn while staying home, and persons in the territory are doing the same. She made references to some local entrepreneurs such as Tara K. Stout of JB's Kitchen, Felicia Tong Fenton of Evolution Hair and Nail Salon, and of course Brent Hoyt of Homegrown Studios, who have all been producing videos on Facebook to help people to learn new skills, including cooking, hairstyling, and keeping people entertained with musical praise parties. Mrs. Letsum Tai commended the local entrepreneurs for using their talents to uplift the community and has encouraged others to contribute to keeping everyone in a positive mind space. She said again, and I quote, why not share your knowledge and skills with your fellow youth? Start a group or club or following and maybe continue with exhibitions and tournaments after the curfew ends. The director suggested, we just ask that you only do positive challenges and that your hashtags include the BVI flag and tag us at DYAS at BVI. Platforms such as TikTok, Facebook Live, and Instagram TV should be used to share skills in an entertaining way. We want you to obviously represent us out there. Now, Mrs. Letsamtai stressed saying staying mentally positive is a way to stay healthy during the curfew and COVID-19 pandemic. Persons are asked to continue to show BVI love, stay home, and stop the spread of COVID-19. Now, there may be some young people who are a bit apprehensive about sharing their gifts. It's a very vulnerable situation to be in. Some might be a little bit scared with the world sharing in their gifts. So Mrs. Tai Letsam offered some encouragement and assistance. Take a look.
Besides being talented, there is so much information that's on the internet right now. There's so many programs, tutorials that are now free. They are free of charge because of the COVID situation. So if you wanted to learn about, again, engineering, there are courses online, absolutely free. So I encourage our young people, use this time productively. Yes, I know I was reminded yesterday that they're still in school and they still have all this stuff to do, but you need a balance in life. So not only you do your work, which is your school work, you can also be balanced that with some creative activity. And learning for pleasure is not the same as having to learn because you're in school. So it's a different kind of experience. So I encourage them, while these programs, I've seen museums, tours of museums, concerts for free, tutorials for free, master classes for free. Take this time and tap into all of these. They're free. Develop your mind, develop your skill, develop yourself. And along with that, take some of this time to go inward. Take some time to be quiet and ask yourself what this all means, and find a way to be grateful.
Now, additionally, Kyla, in the interview, Mrs. Brenda Tai Letsam assured that persons who are a little bit nervous about putting their content out could be helped by the department by sending those videos to the Department of Youth Affairs and Sports. They would edit and then publish it for you. For more challenges during the curfew, visit the Department of Youth Affairs and Sports via their Facebook page or website at DYAS BVI. Now, I have to mention, Kyla, they have some upcoming events, which is going to be a rap battle. A lot of persons in the community are excited about this. We look forward to things like this that allow us to be engaged. The guidelines will be shared shortly, and of course we here at 284 Media encourage the young persons, whether it's a male or female, to support and be a part of the rap battle. And of course the Gen Y Factor, they already picked 11 semi-finalists who will be announced shortly. They were able to do that before COVID-19, so the Gen Y Factor is still pretty much on target. Kyla, I think this story speaks to local ingenuity, local creativity, and I think it's very, very important. A lot of times, too often, we like to look at the negative in every situation, and don't get me wrong, on all fronts, whether it be the economy, whether it be socially, physically, persons are stressed, COVID-19 has really taken its effect on the globe. But I want to pinpoint the positive aspect of this. A lot of persons in our community have for a very long time been wanting to do stuff, and this is their platform. And we see it where persons are being given the opportunity to really showcase their talent. And I think it's so important, so imperative that the young people of our territory, my fellow millennials, take advantage of this opportunity. This is the point. This is where dreams are formed. This is where record deals get picked up by just putting yourself out there, and I think it's important that they understand that.
I agree. I think the internet have made the world so small, and now this is the only thing that we really have to rely on now for communication and for putting ourselves out there. So I definitely love this initiative and really looking forward to the rap battles. That look like it's going to be really, really, really fun.
Most definitely.
Yes. So now, Ron, I'm not sure if you heard about it, but in the recent days, we've heard a lot of discussions surrounding 5G and its connection to the novel coronavirus. Some are calling it a conspiracy theory, but the paranoia surrounding 5G have been brewing for some years now. But since the battle against the world pandemic, persons are associating the spread of the virus with the new generation of wireless communication. Theorists have spread the hoax that global elites were using 5G to spread the virus. Viewers, in case you are wondering, what is 5G? 5G is a next generation wireless network that is expected to enable a wave of technologies that will change the way that people live and work. The potential application include self-driving cars, remote surgeries, and automated factories. 5G has so far rolled out in about 40 countries worldwide, most notably South Korea and China, but also in dozens of U.S. cities, including Cleveland and Columbus, Ohio. There are several theories linking 5G and COVID-19. One simply suggesting that 5G networks cause COVID-19 or symptoms of the infection. Another claims that 5G networks emit radiation that weakens the immune system, making people more susceptible to infection. Before the coronavirus, fear about 5G tended to focus on cancer, the risk of which people feared could be increased from cell phone radiation. Ron, we have seen a lot of theories out there, and I think because of the fast spread of the coronavirus and the limited information that is out there, people are contributing it to anything that they can really and truly find.
Indeed.
I think people are unaware of the true cause of the virus. You're hearing one thing today and another thing tomorrow. Claims have even surfaced that the coronavirus is a man-made bioweapon. Experts call these claims baseless, but I believe that some persons are worried that there is something that governments and the higher powers are not telling us. And Ron, even our local phone companies have been getting,
Yeah, they've been under attack. Yeah.
Yeah, they've been under attack. A lot of questions have been surfacing, even locally. So, Ron, what is your thoughts on these claims?
Well, Kyla, I think you know me very well, and I'm not one to give in to conspiracy theories. However, I do agree, and I think the simple fact of the matter that comes down to it is persons need something. They need a reason. They need someone to kind of point a finger at. And
Exactly.
COVID-19 is something that honestly none of us have been able to really understand in certain regards, but we don't know really and truly the cause of it, even though we've had scientific explanations. So I think the long and short of it is persons all across the world, whether it be locally or regionally, they want something to be able to say that this is the reason, and they want a finger to point. I do agree that there's a lot of confusion and misleading information, and we've heard these talks a long time ago as it pertains to 5G, but I think at the end of the day, persons believe what they believe, and if it makes them more comfortable, if it gives them a level of comfort in knowing that in their opinion this is what's right, I think respectfully so they should continue to do that, because at the end of the day we all need something to believe in.
Yes. I agree, Ron.
Still ahead, U.S. Virgin Islands cancels in-person school for the remainder of 2019-20 school year. This is a story you don't want to miss after a word from our sponsors.
How may I assist you? Yes. You want top of power?
You want top of power?
Join the prepaid party with CCT and enjoy more affordable data plans, more top-up promotions, more savings with hero bundles, and more value for your money each and every Tuesday with Top Up Turn Up Tuesday. Visit a CCT store today or anywhere CCT Top Up is sold and top up your phone.
5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. You want top of power?
Viewers, welcome back. The VI Consortium out of St. Thomas, USVI, has reported that Governor Albert Bryan announced during his administration's Wednesday coronavirus press briefing that a determination was made to cancel in-person public school classes for the remainder of 2019-2020 school year. This means students will not be back on campus until September, when the 2020-21 school year is set to commence. Critically, learning will continue usually using the virtual, as the Department of Education in the USVI has been doing since the stay-at-home order by Bryant was issued in March. The latest coronavirus numbers coming out of St. Thomas are tests performed as of Wednesday, 322, positive test 45, 14 on St. Croix, 29 on St. Thomas, and 2 on St. John. Negative 242 cases, pending cases 35, 9 on St. Croix, 23 on St. Thomas, and 2 on St. John. A total of 39 persons have recovered, and unfortunately, 1 life has been lost in the U.S. Virgin Islands. Now, Commissioner of Education, additionally, she mentioned that students who met the requirements for graduation this year will not get to experience that in-person traditional ceremonies that have been used to honor students and hand them their diplomas. Instead, the Department of Education Commissioner Ms. Raquel Berry-Benjamin spoke of a virtual graduation, believe it or not, that has been planned for the U.S. Virgin Islands. The commissioner said the third marking period ended on Friday, March 20th, and that students are required to take a photo of their completed assignment from the work packet they received upon the closure of schools on March 17th. Students are then required to email those photos to teachers. Commissioner Raquel Berry mentioned, and I quote, "Teachers will indicate to parents and students which assignment to submit." Mrs. Berry-Benjamin said submission deadline is Friday, April 24th. With remote learning becoming the new normal, at least for the next few months, the commissioner said the Department of Education has performed a survey to gain knowledge of the extent of the preparedness of its students relative to the accessibility of technology to facilitate the experience. These technologies include internet access and device availability. Now, Kyla, territory-wide, 47% of students in the United States Virgin Islands indicated that they did not have desktop computers at home. Another 59% said they had laptops. 66% said they had a handheld computer or smartphone, while 34% said they did not. And 18% of the students surveyed said they did not have internet access at home, according to Mrs. Berry-Benjamin. Now, to rectify this problem, the students without requisite technology, Mrs. Berry-Benjamin said, Department of Education had reposed available federal funds to procure the tools of learning for the students without adequate access, including the internet. Kyla, this is a remarkable, very, very important story just coming out of our sister island over there in St. Thomas, St. Croix, and St. John. Yeah. It is one thing to say that students will be working from home virtually, but it is another thing to make such a bold announcement. We see where Governor Bryant has decided that all in-class sessions are canceled going up until September next year. And I think at the end of the day, this is as a result of the number of cases. While they have a huge level of recovery, they do have a large number that continues to be seemingly growing. So precautions have been made available. And what I love about this story at the end of the day is that despite some students not having internet access or computers, the Department of Education in St. Thomas, U.S. Virgin Islands, has made it possible by funding to make sure that these students are still receiving what they need. And I think it's remarkable. It's scary, but it's remarkable.
I agree. We see here where the Department of Education over in the USVI is basically trying their best to do all that they can to make sure that students are still equipped even during these times. But I think what, for me at least, is a bit sad is that this year, this cohort of students will not actually get an in-person graduation. And I think, yes, we are trying our best in these times, but some things just aren't the same.
Yeah, and Kyla, that not only means no graduation, but that means no prom, no buying of the fancy suits or gowns, and I think
that's something that all students look forward to. But we are all trying our best in these times as best as we can.
And it's something that we have to get adjusted to, so at least they're making the necessary steps.
Yes. So viewers, that's it for today's news roundup. Be sure to follow us for your daily news updates at 284media.com and like us on Facebook at 284media and 284BVI on Instagram and Twitter. I'm Kyla Kenesha Forbes.
And I'm Ron Grant. We will see you not tomorrow because tomorrow is Good Friday, but we will see you next week, Tuesday. Kyla, we cannot forget Good Friday being celebrated and commemorated tomorrow in the Virgin Islands. Despite the COVID-19, they will be observed. I know persons all across the territory have probably already began preparing. I don't know about you, but I have kind of already put my world-renowned saltfish to
Right,
soak,
right.
because you know that'll like, hit the spot. And I'm hoping that my wonderful mother-in-law will save that dukana, put it in the freezer for me, so after the COVID-19, I can experience some of that. But we still want to take this opportunity to wish all residents of the Virgin Islands, as well as our brothers and sisters across the region, a safe and enjoyable Good Friday and Easter Monday holidays. Make sure you spend it taking in and eating, but not only that, spending time with your family. It's
Most
remarkable.
definitely.
So we'll see you guys on Tuesday, giving you a daily dose of local, regional, and international content. We're 284 News, your source for honest and impartial news, right here on 284 Media. Happy Thursday, everybody. Bye-bye.